All right. Welcome to a new series that I'm going to be doing on my production process behind the scenes, game production process behind the scenes. So these are, I guess, going to be mostly of interest to game developers, people who are um, getting into game development, and in particular, people who are going to be using Unreal Engine. Um, I've been using Unreal Engine since 2016. Since 2016, so it's coming up on 10 years. I've been using Unreal Engine. I started with originally with 4.9 and used many different versions. Current version is 5.7, Unreal Engine 5.7. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Today's video is on how I set up a brand new project. And a couple of high level ideas on that. Um, First of all, I use Unreal Engine. Second, I use Perforce because Perforce integrates really nicely with Unreal Engine. And if you have 5 or fewer people on your dev team, it's free. Once you get to 6, then you have to start paying license fees. But first, getting started with your small team, it's great. And it integrates really nicely with Unreal Engine. That's what I find, as well as from what I understand, the Epic folks use Perforce for their development, internal development. And I've been using Perforce since 2004, so 22 years. All the game studios I've been at have used Perforce, and as I understand it, the Epic folks do as well. So it's great. Third, um, my habit is to always set up a essentially a fork of Unreal Engine. It's not like we're doing a major fork or anything, but it's nice to have all the source code for Unreal Engine. So having access to all the source code allows you to just debug, deep dive into any of their source code, any of the system that you're interested in, or any system that any system you're trying to figure out how it works. In theory, you can do your own deep dive into their code and see exactly how their stuff works. Not saying that's easy. They have Unreal Engine is a huge. I mean, it's just a huge engine, and I don't think there's anyone in the world, not even Tim Sweeney knows all the ins and outs of Unreal Engine code. Uh, that's my belief. I've never talked with Tim Sweeney, but that's my belief that nobody knows everything about Unreal Engine. It's just too big at this point. Um, but that said, it's great, and I love having the source code available to look into. So that's part of my process as well. So I'm going to walk you through that, how I set up a brand new project. All right. Okay. So step one is for me to set up a Perforce streaming depot. So there's two different types of depots, at least in broad strokes, in Perforce. There's the non-streaming and there's the streaming. And I would say since about 2018, yeah, last 8 years or something, I've been using streaming depots exclusively. Prior to that, it was always the non-streaming depots, but yeah, I use streaming depots. So let me get started here. I'm going to launch P4V, uh, and I already have a Perforce server set up. It's on a machine, just sitting right over there. I set up my Perforce server. I have backups on it, nightly backups, and that's all set up. And I also have P4V installed. So how you get the server installed and P4V installed? Not in this. I'm assuming you already have that part done. All right. So let me just launch P4V. Um, get it over onto the screen. Um, as you can see, I have a whole bunch of depots here. But I'm going to create a new depot because that's what I do. And so for that, I need. I'm. This is behind the scenes. So I'm going to go Tools Administration, and this is the administrative interface. So if you're the one who set it up, then you will have an administrative interface. You can do this. If you're not the one who set up, your Perforce server, then maybe you don't have access to this. All right. And so from here, I'm going to do File, New Depot. Um, and you enter a name for your new depot. Dang, what am I going to call this? Um, I haven't told you about the game I'm making. As of today, I'm making a game, and I'm going to do behind the scenes on stuff. So I'm going to tell you my strategy on naming. Um, it's worthwhile to always have a code name because choosing the name is hard, And so my strategy is initially just choose a code name, choose a code name, and stick with it. I'm going to call this Gothic. Gothic. That's going to be my code name for this thing. That's the name of the depot. Click OK. And then let's see, what do we got here? We need to, the type is stream. That's good. That's what I want. Um, storage location, just keep it as the default. And stream depth, also keep that as default. This looks great. So I'm just going to click OK. And then if I look at my depots, it all wraps up, it all lines up here. Got all these other ones. This one, by the way, is we just made Escape from Hadrian's Wall, finished it. Um, I shouldn't say finished, but it's shipped on 2 platforms. Uh, on Meta Quest 3 and also on Meta Quest store, the Meta store, and also on Steam for Steam VR. Anyway, that's the depot I set up for Escape, and the rest of these are all kind of internal projects. I've also done this at uh, other game studios, so it's not just a process I've used here at home in my home studio, but also at uh, at big game studios. Anyway, so I got the new one here, Gothic. It's there, and I'm done with that. Um, so I'm gonna shut that down. That's the admin interface. And now, when I come over to P4V, let me click refresh. Bam! I can now see Gothic, and there's absolutely nothing in it. So inside the Gothic one, I'm going to say File, New Stream, and create a stream called Main. You can do caps, initial cap or not, your choice. And then stream type. This is pretty important in a bigger production. It's not going to be very important for our game because this is going to be a really small production. But in a bigger production, I would say always do a mainline. But development. I've done a lot of this development and release. I've never used virtual and task, but development and release streams I've used before. That's a separate topic, I guess. But we're using this as a mainline. Escape main. It's the mainline. Oh, sorry. Did I say escape? No. I want this to be in Gothic. Gothic main. So that location looks good. And then under the, let me just, I'm looking at my notes as well. Make sure I don't miss anything. It's good. I'm going to click OK. Would you like to populate? Don't populate. We don't have any files. We got nothing. Um, so now, in the Streams tab, so um, you may or may not have these tabs. I'm going to get rid of them for a second so I can show you. Just get rid of all these. Um, if you're pretty new to Perforce, it may look like this. Um, you click View and Streams. And then you can see all these streams, right? And I now have main, Gothic main. And from the Streams tab, you can see I'm always checking my notes because I don't remember any of this stuff. I write it down when I have to take notes on how did I do that. Anyway, I write stuff down in my notes. Let's see. In the Streams tab, this is my notes. In the Visual Streams graph, right mouse button, click the main stream to create a workspace. Populate the stream with a readme.txt file. So so Streams graph. Here is the Streams graph. Um, pick out the Gothic, and I got main. So right here, I can right-click this puppy. Yeah, create new workspace. There we go. Okay, create a new workspace. And here's how I name things. Um, Perforce has their crazy naming stuff. You know, some people love it. Um, but anyway, the way I do it is like this: jgray underscore gothic underscore main. I'll use a capital M, consistent with my folder. All right, and then the workspace root. Do not like that. I'm gonna instead go to my D drive, and I always put them under projects, and then create a new folder called Gothic. And now my workspace root is going to be um, D projects Gothic. So we got the workspace root, workspace name, stream is Gothic main. Perfect. Click OK. Bam. Now, I got nothing in there at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I use Notepad, Notepad++. I'm just going to create a file and save it. Save as. This is a Notepad save as. Projects. Gothic. Oh, and then I need to make a new folder. No, I'll just put it right here. And we're going to call it placeholder. Placeholder.txt. Save that. And then I've got that file. And then I can click on the workspace. So there's two tabs here for people who know Perforce. This is obvious. Two tabs, Depot and Workspace. Click on the Workspace tab, and I can right-click on the Projects Gothic folder and do Mark for Add. This little window pops up. I'm going to say New, Added, Placeholder File. Added a placeholder file. Click OK. And now, if I do View Pending Change Lists, I can see I've added a placeholder text.txt file. I'm going to submit that. Click submit. All right, right click here, right click, and then submit. Um, added placeholder file, submit. So at this point, if I look at the depot, I now have Gothic, main, and a placeholder.txt file. So that's the start of basic Perforce setup. All right. All right. So our next step is to set up is basically to get the Unreal Engine source code. So for that, um, let's see. I open up um, a Chrome browser and go to the Epic's GitHub. So that's this address, github.com, Epic Games, Unreal Engine. So you'll probably see this in a nutshell. Epic doesn't allow anyone to just everyone in the public to get their source code. Instead, you have to like sign up for sign up into their GitHub group basically. Uh, and there's no doubt uh, some YouTube videos on how to do that. But get access to the Epic's GitHub, and so I need to log in. Um, it's my username here is there we go. I log in, and then bam, I have access to Epic Games Unreal Engine. And so what we want is what I do. And if you're a GitHub user, you may have other ways of doing this. I do it this simple way, which is I just want to download the zip. So I get so actually, and there's different branches and whatnot. I'm gonna get 5.7.3, basically latest release. And here, download zip, bam, and then I choose. I'm gonna just put this on my D drive, D temp, save it right there. That's going to take a little bit of time, so I will I'll cut the video here and come back. All right, that's done. Didn't take too long. Uh, and let's see here. Um, the file is right here. Unreal Engine dash release.zip. And what I'm going to do is I tend to always use 7-zip, and going to go 7-zip extract files. And I'm going to extract to, I've got an ND projects, Gothic. I already made a folder in there called marketing. I'm going to make a new folder, and I tend to always call this folder runtime for basically the runtime assets to distinguish them from, like Photoshop files or Blender files, things that don't go directly into the runtime. They have to be exported first. So I make a folder called runtime, and that's where I'm gonna um, go ahead and do the extract. So clicking OK. Here's 7-zip. All right, looks like it's about to finish. Took about 1 minute 45. And bam, done. Let's go have a look at where we got it. Projects, Gothic, runtime. Okay, so okay, this is all the stuff we want. So I'm going to take all this and um, let me see what's the best way to do this. Um, going to open up another Explorer window. Um, d -d 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 Man, that's ugly. The projects Gothic runtime. So I want to take all these things and put those directly into, um, yeah, put them there. And then, all right, so I've copied the files from inside of Unreal Engine dash release uh, right into Projects Gothic runtime. And now they're all copied here. Now I'm going to delete this folder, folder called Unreal Engine dash release. I always do shift delete because I don't want it to be uh, in my, what do you call it, the recycle bin. So delete that forever. Okay, the key point is to keep this super clean, um, so that because these are going to be all the files that we're going to be submitting to Perforce, and we don't want a bunch of, in my view, we don't want a bunch of junk files, unnecessary junk, in there. We just want the files that need to be in there. And for me, I could just submit all these files, but no, I also want the so-called the setup files in there as well. So in order to have all the files, you need to run setup.bat. So I'm going to do that next. Double clicking setup.bat, and here's what it's doing. Checking dependencies. This is Epic's batch file. It's doing all this stuff. That's going to take a little while to run. So I'm going to cut the tape here and come back later. As you can see, this is going pretty slow here. I have a fast internet connection, but it's still only downloading 5-ish megabytes per second. And it's, as you can see, it's only 32%. It's got a long way to go. So I'm going to go take a break, and I'll be back. All right. So setup.bat has finished. And at this point, we've got about, it looks like 82.8 gigabytes of data in the runtime folder. So that's a lot. All right. But one comment, I guess, is that, let's see, refresh. We now have this runtime folder. I ran setup.bat, and it downloaded a lot of stuff. I didn't check how big the runtime folder was before I did the setup.bat, but it was no doubt much smaller. Um, but the reason I like to submit all of that stuff to Perforce is that basically if someone else joins the project, if and when someone else joins the project, then all they have to do is they will just need to sync the runtime folder, and then they will get everything they need to run the game. So to basically run the editor, that's the plan. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm in Perforce here. I am going to basically right click runtime and do mark for add. It's going to be, hesitate to do this because it's going to be so many files. Let's just see what happens. It's probably just going to be crazy. But you, let's see, added all Unreal Engine um, 5.7.3 source files, including the files added, downloaded, downloaded by running setup.bat. Okay, clicking OK. Um, so this is going to take some amount of time. Uh, I don't know how long that's going to take for that to run. I will take another break. I'll be back. All right. So that actually took a couple hours. Um, and I'll show you how many files it was in a second. But when it finished, it popped up this thing. Add these files with wildcards. The following files contain wildcards in their names. Looks like a lot of them have like C sharp in the name, which I guess Perforce doesn't like it. Perforce balks on those. Um, Not sure about all of them, but anyway, a good chunk of them had a C sharp in the names, which looks a little fishy. Not sure about the rest of these. Anyway, I want to add them all, so I'm gonna leave them all checked. There's this, they're all checked, and I'm just gonna hit continue. So bam, and then I'm clicking refresh. Um, so look, I don't know if you can read this number here. My Perforce change list says there's 350,691 files in this change list. Okay, 350,691. And then I also did a um, right clicked on here and did properties. And there it is. 350,691 files are in the runtime folder. So that looks perfect. All the files were added. So now I'm just going to right click and click submit. Adding all 350,000 files into my Perforce server. That popped up. I click submit. I can change. You can change the change list description here if you want, but I'm clicking submit. Revision characters not allowed. I clicked OK. What is this? I got an error here. Can't add file names to the wildcards at hash percent or star in them. Okay, and this is error line. Revision characters not allowed. Okay, so it's not gonna. That's annoying. Contains. Let's see, anything contains at. Select match. All right. Let's remove those. I don't need iOS files. How about the hash? Okay, all these C sharp files. .NET zip examples. Okay, a bunch of example stuff. I clicked remove selected. Okay, I'm gonna try submit, see what happens. Okay, looks like it's Looks like it's working. Okay, so this is gonna be take some time. 350,000 files. I'll let that happen. I'll be back. Oh, right. So that took a long time, and full disclosure, I had to remove a couple more files from the change list. So here's what we have. Uh, Here, the default change list is where the extra files ended up. There's a bunch with ats in the ats symbol in the file name. Um, then there's a lot of those, and then there's the ones with the C sharp, the sharp in the hash, or yeah, that's in the file name. And then there's these .rc. I did a Google search, and other people are finding problems with that those .rc files. Um, so a lot of people are finding, and they suggest we replace the corrupted files here. So okay, that's annoying. You gotta. I'm a little bit inclined to not worry about it at the moment, especially not for this video. Um, all right, so back to the change list. I'm just gonna, for the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna put all these files in another change list. Right click, move to another change list. I'm gonna call it extra Unreal Engine files, which can't easily be submitted to Perforce. All right, so um, in the submitted list, I now have the placeholder.txt. I've got the huge 350,487 files, and in my pending list, I've got let me refresh. I've got these extra files. Let's leave it there for the moment. Um, I've got them all submitted to Perforce, and as you can see over here, if I look at the depot, I got the placeholder. And actually, let me clean this up. That placeholder thing, we don't need that. I'm going to right click that and mark for delete. Put it in a new change list. Deleting the placeholder text file. I I only wanted that in there so that I could have the runtime folder show up in you know in the depot and stuff. And right right click, submit. Okay, so that one's submitted. By the way, another Google search I did said that you can force these. There is a way in Perforce to force submit files with the @ symbol in them, or the the hashtag symbol in them. I'll worry about that later. At the moment, um, let's assume that we've got. I have like the vast majority of the engine source files set up, and so the next step is I'm going to go over here to D projects Gothic runtime. We got a thing called generate project files.bat. So basically, there's no Visual Studio solution files here, and those are created by generate project files.bat. And actually, the only people who need to do that is anyone who's building the editor, or building the editor, or any of the other Unreal Engine executables. So anyway, artists typically don't need that. Only engineers. Anyway, I'm double clicking Generate project files.bat. It's doing its thing. See how long this takes. Should be fast, I think. Building Unreal Build Tool. Okay, this might take a little bit of time. So, see how that goes. I'll be back. All right, that just took a few minutes and automatically shut down when it was done. And as you can see, UE5.sln got created. And actually, the second and later times, you can run this as often as you want. It doesn't make any difference. I'll just run it again so you can see. It should be super fast. Um, blasting through, as I say, second and subsequent times, it's much faster. Done. All right, now we have this UE5.sln. That's the solution file for Visual Studio. I already have Visual Studio 2022 installed, so that's a separate thing you need to do. There's a lot of things I'm skipping, right? But I'm double clicking that. Uh, there we go. Okay, it says little note from, yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Microsoft. Um, I'm just gonna ignore this. I don't think I need to install extra garbage, extra stuff. Um, I'm gonna click X on that, and then under, let's see. Well, let me try building UE5 first. Right click and do build, and that'll probably take a little time. Uh, and I'll be back. All right, a little progress report. I don't know if you can see the numbers, but it just hit 800 out of 8,511 items compiled. So it's just zipping along, compiling thousands of things. All right, I'll be back. All right, so um, not sure if you can see it very easily, but we finished compiling 8,000 and some things, compiling and linking. In the end, it said something failed, one failed. Um, so something failed. I'm not sure what. There's crap tons of stuff in here of things that were done. Anyway, what I did see, pull up a Explorer window. We go into here, D projects, Gothic, runtime, engine, build. Um, is this where it is? Windows. Let me see. Hold on. I see. Binaries. There we go. Win64. And there is in here, should be an Unreal Engine. There we go. Double clicking. And it says Unreal Editor Engine.dll was not found. Okay. So apparently that's what failed. Unreal Editor Engine.dll was not found. Let me try to rebuild. Build again. Generally speaking, it's always much faster subsequent times. But let's just see exactly what we've. Should give us some good clues what failed. Well, just let it go. Now it succeeded. That says succeeded. So if I go back to here and double click, okay, I'm getting a question. I'm going to allow public and private networks to access this app. Okay, why not? And bam, the what do you call it? The splash screen is happening. All right, that's going to take probably several minutes because it's compiling shaders. I suspect it'll take some time, so I'll be back. All right, so the shader is all compiled and it launched as this, which is not the editor yet. It's more of a, I don't know, I don't know what we call this, but what we want to do is new project. Um, Click that new project, and then let me see. I want to do a hold on, checking my notes. Right under games, I'm gonna do a blank C++ project because I do like to have the basic C++ functionality. It can be added later, but I always just add it right from the start. I'm gonna do. Let's see. Um, I think that's all we need. Um, Pick the correct folder. So of course we're going with D projects Gothic runtime. That's my folder, and we're going to call it. I'm just going to call it Gothic. My code name, and click create. I mean, target platform and quality. I think this gives you a bunch of the initial settings. You can try something different if for some reason you're planning to do mobile or something, but I'm just going to go desktop maximum. Click create, and it's going to take a few seconds. Um, More than a few seconds. It's going along. I can't pull that over. It's creating project, generating project files, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that finished. And next up, I'm going to shut this one down and go over to Perforce. Inside of the workspace, have to be on the workspace tab, we should now see, actually refresh, we should now see the Gothic stuff that got created. What I want to do is add some of these to Perforce. So the config folder, right click, mark for add, um, added Gothic project files. Um, Let me see, Gothic's runtime project files. Clicking OK. So those are added. I want to add the source files. I definitely don't want the intermediate files. Those are absolutely not needed. Got added here. Cool. 5 files there, including a CPP file and a .h file. And then the content folder, mark that for add as well. And I think, is there nothing? Maybe there's nothing. No content yet. Cool. It's a blank project. All right. So I'm going to have a look at what we got. Yeah, we just got the config files and there's some source files. Cool. So what I want to do next is I want to yet again do generate project files .bat, and it should update update the project files for the new Gothic project. All right, and then I'm going to launch Visual Studio again. See what we get. Let's launch it over on the other side of my screen. There we go. All right. So what you can see is now we have a under games we have something called Gothic, and it's got some source files. Not sure what's going on, but I'm gonna. Is it gonna let me do it? Launching still. Here we go. Right click Gothic and build. And I think should be it should be very fast um, because it's just a tiny bit of files, right? This one CPP file, one .h file, and then everything else has already been built. The engine's already been built. The other thing we can do is I'm going to right click this and set as startup project. There it is, set as startup project. Oh, build must be stopped to change the solution property. Okay, no, I'm not going to stop the build. Horribly slow to build one CPP file, but anyway, here we go. Come on, let's go. All right, it succeeded. So now I'm going to right click this Gothic and set as startup project. Cool. And then I can hit F5 to just launch the editor that we just built. It's going to take some time. I'll cut it here. All right, so the editor launched, and we have, as expected, a empty project. Nothing in the content folder, but it did create this map here of sorts. Um, let's see. It's just like a, I don't know, some sort of crater or something. And looking at the outliner, yeah, it's standard. It's got a player start. I see. We're out in the middle of a desert. It's got a player start. It's got some stuff. All right. Let me actually click play and see what happens. I'm looking around. I'm in the game. And can I? Oh, and I can just fly around. I'm in the game. Um, that's doing the playing the selected viewport. I can also assume new editor window. Bam. And I'm running around, and there I am in this world. All right, so that's cool. Um, let me shut that down. And back to Perforce. So this stuff that I added, right? It's a. Let me look one more time over here. There's nothing in the content folder in the workspace. This is a new save folder. Do not need to save that. I mean, do not need to check it into Perforce. Intermediate folder, absolutely not. And the reason is those are all essentially temp files, and whenever you, so artists would never need to ever see that. Any, I mean, by artists I mean anyone who's not building the editor. Um, Engineers see them all the time, but you know, normally you don't share that stuff. It's just a, you know, a temporary. It's a bunch of temporary files. Oh man, what happened? Uh, I don't know if I got a proper recording there, but anyway, moving on. Um, I am going to submit this to Perforce, adding that. So what we ended up with is, if I look at the big picture, I've got the runtime folder which has all the engine. Let me look at the depot side. There's the runtime folder which has the engine, all these feature packs and stuff that's like standard starter content and templates for third person, whatever, first person, different versions. Um, Gothic is the game that we're getting started making. There's the samples, templates. I pretty much don't really need those things, but I check them into Perforce anyway in case they ever are useful. The main things that we use are the engine. Oops. The main things that we use are the engine and the game, which is called Gothic. All right, so trying to summarize a little bit, what we ended up with is we have everything checked into Perforce. It's a C++ blank project, so we're free to add C++ files and whatnot. We're free to create whatever we need, game modes, new player, player pawns and NPC pawns and game objects, all the stuff. We can create all that stuff in either C++ or Blueprint. And we have our own version, our own copy of the engine that we've built from scratch, so that we can, if we ever need to debug by stepping through the engine code, we can do that. So that's, in summation, that is what I do to start a new project. It's basically what I did when I started the Escape project. And that lasted me for 2.5 years, and we ended up shipping that game on 2 platforms. So there it is. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.